Before there was heaven, before there was earth, before gods ruled, loved, betrayed, or killed, there was nothing. No sky, no sea, no fire, no time, only an endless silent void. The ancient Greeks called it chaos. This is not the story of heroes and monsters. This is the story of existence itself, how the universe was born, how power was claimed, and how fear created the first tyrants among the gods. To understand Zeus, to understand Hades, to understand why the gods behave like humans with unlimited power, we must return to the beginning. Chaos was not evil. Chaos was not violent. Chaos was emptiness. A limitless gap where nothing had shape or meaning. No up, no down, no past, no future. And yet, from this nothingness, something happened. Without intention, without design, existence began to form itself. From chaos emerged the primordial deities, beings so ancient they did not rule the universe. They were the universe. Gaia, the earth. The first to truly take shape was Gaia. She was not just the land beneath feet. She was mountains, valleys, forests, and stone. Gaia was life, fertility, and endurance. She felt everything. And she was alone. Tartarus, the abyss. Far beneath Gaia formed Tartarus. Not hell. At least not yet. Tartarus was a living depth, darker and deeper than death itself. Even the gods would one day fear this place. Eros, the force of creation. Then came Eros. Not romance. Not affection. Eros was desire itself, the force that drives beings to create, connect, and multiply. Without Eros, nothing would ever be born. Nyx, night. Out of chaos stepped Nyx, the night. Silent. Unavoidable. Powerful. Nyx did not need weapons. Even Zeus would later hesitate to challenge her. Erebus. Darkness. With Nyx came Erebus, the darkness between spaces, the shadow beneath existence. Together, Nyx and Erebus created light and day, but darkness would always come first. Gaia desired companionship, so from herself she created Uranus, the sky. Uranus stretched endlessly above her, covering Gaia completely every night. At first their union was fruitful. Together they created powerful offspring, the 12 Titans. Massive beings representing fundamental forces. Time. Memory. Ocean. Law. Intelligence. The Cyclopes. One-eyed giants of immense strength, master blacksmiths capable of forging divine weapons. The Hecatoncheires. Monsters with 100 arms and 50 heads, embodiments of raw, unstoppable force. But Uranus did not see children. He saw threats. Uranus feared being overthrown. So he made a cruel decision. He imprisoned his own children inside Gaia, forcing them back into her body. The earth screamed. Mountains cracked. The land trembled. Gaia suffered endlessly. And from that pain, rage was born. Gaia created a weapon, a sickle forged from unbreakable adamant. She approached her children and asked a single question. Who among you will punish your father? Silence followed. Until one Titan stepped forward. Cronus. Young, ambitious, cold. Cronus accepted the sickle. When Uranus descended once more to embrace Gaia, Cronus attacked. With one strike, he castrated the sky. Uranus screamed as blood spilled across the cosmos. From that blood arose the Furies, spirits of vengeance. The giants, embodiments of chaos. And from the sea foam, Aphrodite, goddess of beauty. Cronus cast Uranus away. The sky fell. And the age of the Titans began. Cronus ruled as king of the universe. At first his reign seemed just, but power carries memory. Uranus had cursed him with a prophecy. You will be overthrown, by your own son. Fear consumed Cronus. When his wife Rhea gave birth, Cronus made a horrifying choice. He swallowed his children alive. One by one. Hestia. Demeter. Hera. Hades. Poseidon, all trapped inside their father's body. Rhea watched in silence. But Gaia was already planning. When Rhea became pregnant again, she fled. On the island of Crete, she gave birth to Zeus. To deceive Cronus, she wrapped a stone in cloth and fed it to him. Cronus swallowed it, never questioning. Zeus was hidden in a cave. Warriors called curates clashed shields to hide his cries. A divine goat, Amalthea, fed him. And Zeus grew. Strong. Clever. Patient. Zeus learned the truth. About his father. About his swallowed siblings. About the tyranny of the Titans. He did not rush. He planned. Because brute force alone would not defeat a god who ruled through fear. The universe was heading toward its first great war. A war that would shake reality itself. The Titans believed their rule was eternal. They were wrong. Because the child they tried to destroy had survived. And he was coming. The sky had fallen. The earth had screamed. And the universe now belonged to the Titans. But power gained through betrayal is never secure. Because fear does not disappear when a throne is taken. It grows. And Cronus, the god who overthrew his own father, would soon discover that ruling the universe was far more terrifying than winning it. With Uranus defeated, Cronus claimed the throne of the cosmos. The universe entered what the Greeks later called the Golden Age, a time before mortal suffering, before war, before death ruled humanity. Under the Titans, the world was young, nature was abundant. Mortals lived without pain or labor. But this peace was an illusion, because the ruler of this age was a god who ruled not with wisdom, but with fear. The Titans were not villains by nature. They were cosmic forces, embodiments of reality itself. Some of the most important Titans included Oceanus, the endless river encircling the world; Hyperion, the Titan of heavenly light, father of the sun, moon, and dawn; Theia, Titaness of sight and brilliance; Mnemosyne, Titaness of memory, the source of history, storytelling and remembrance; Iapetus, associated with mortality and human destiny; Rhea, mother of gods, queen of the Titans, silent witness to horror. Together, they shaped the universe. But only Cronus held absolute power. Cronus had learned a single lesson from his father. Power is never safe. Uranus had been strong. Uranus had ruled the sky. And Uranus had fallen. Cronus believed strength alone was not enough, so he ruled through control, through terror, and through prevention. Uranus's final words echoed endlessly in Cronus's mind. You will be overthrown by your own son. To Cronus, this was not fate. It was a threat. And threats must be eliminated. So when Rhea gave birth to their first child, Cronus made a decision that would define him forever. Cronus did not kill his children. He did something worse. He swallowed them alive. Inside his immortal body they remained conscious, trapped in darkness. One by one. Hestia, goddess of the hearth and home, swallowed at birth. Demeter, goddess of harvest and life, consumed by fear. Hera, future queen of Olympus, imprisoned before she could speak. Hades, future ruler of the dead, sent to darkness before knowing light. Poseidon, future god of the sea, drowned inside his own father. Cronus believed he had won. But Rhea was breaking. Rhea loved her children. But she was powerless. Each birth became a funeral. She could not fight Cronus. She could not flee. So she turned to the only being older than the Titans themselves, Gaia. The earth listened. And for the second time in history, Gaia planned a revolution. When Rhea became pregnant for the sixth time, Gaia helped her escape. On the island of Crete, hidden from Cronus's sight, Zeus was born. To deceive the Titan king, a stone was wrapped in cloth. Cronus swallowed it without hesitation. His fear had blinded him. And his greatest enemy now lived. Zeus's childhood was not peaceful. He was raised knowing. His father was a tyrant. His siblings were imprisoned. The universe was built on injustice. The Curetes, armed warriors, clashed shields constantly to hide his cries. The goat Amalthea nourished him. And as Zeus grew, something became clear. He was not just strong. He was strategic. Unlike Cronus, Zeus did not rule through fear. He learned through observation. He learned patience. And most importantly, he learned that brute force alone could not defeat the Titans. The Titans were ancient, powerful, numerous. Zeus would need allies. Zeus's first ally was Metis, Titaness of wisdom and cunning. Metis understood prophecy. She understood fate. And she helped Zeus design his first move. Not war, but liberation. Metis created a powerful potion. When Zeus returned in disguise to Cronus's court, he served the drink to his father. Cronus drank. And the impossible happened. One by one, Cronus vomited up his swallowed children. They emerged. Alive. Grown. Furious. The gods were free. And they wanted revenge. For the first time, Zeus stood beside Hera, Demeter, Hestia, Poseidon, Hades. They were not grateful children. They were gods who had suffered. And they had waited a long time. The cosmos split into two sides. The Titans, led by Cronus, ruling from Mount Othrys. The Olympians, led by Zeus, gathering strength on Mount Olympus. The war to decide reality itself was about to begin. This was not a single battle. It was a 10-year war. Mountains were torn apart. Seas boiled. The sky burned. God fought God. And neither side could win. Zeus realized something critical. The Titans were powerful, but incomplete. So he descended into Tartarus. There, he freed the beings his grandfather Uranus had imprisoned long ago. The Cyclopes, masters of divine weapons. The Titanomachy, living engines of destruction. In gratitude, the Cyclopes forged legendary weapons. Zeus received the thunderbolt. Poseidon received the trident. Hades received the helm of invisibility. The war was about to change. With the new weapons, the Olympians unleashed devastation. The Titanomachy hurled mountains like stones. Zeus shattered the heavens with lightning. One by one, the Titans fell. Cronus was defeated. The Titans were imprisoned in Tartarus, guarded forever by the monsters they once feared. The universe was silent. The Olympians had won. But power always leaves scars. Zeus stood victorious. And the question remained, would he rule differently than his father? Or would history repeat itself? Cronus was gone. The Titans were defeated. But absolute power now belonged to Zeus. And even gods cannot escape destiny. The Titans were defeated. The universe was broken. And from the ashes of the first great war, a new ruler stood above all others. His name was Zeus. But victory did not make him peaceful. It made him powerful. And power, when placed in immortal hands, always demands a price. The Titanomachy was over. For 10 years, reality itself had been torn apart. Mountains shattered. Seas boiled. The sky burned with lightning. Now, there was silence. The Titans lay defeated, chained in Tartarus, guarded eternally by the Titanomachy. And for the first time since chaos, the universe had a single ruler. Zeus did not claim the throne quietly. He took it by force. Armed with thunderbolts forged by the Cyclopes, Zeus ruled the sky, storms, law, and authority. But Zeus was not just stronger than the Titans. He was different. Cronus ruled through fear. Zeus ruled through control. After the war, the Olympians faced a decision. Who would rule what? To prevent conflict among themselves, Zeus proposed a division of the cosmos. By drawing lots, the brothers claimed their domains. Zeus, the sky, ruler of storms, lightning, law, and kingship. Poseidon, the sea, master of oceans, earthquakes, and storms beneath the waves. Hades, the underworld, lord of the dead, riches beneath the earth and the unseen. The earth and Mount Olympus remained shared territory. This division would define mythology forever. Hades did not rule the underworld as punishment. He ruled it because someone had to. Unlike Zeus and Poseidon, Hades did not desire chaos or worship. He demanded order, and yet, mortals would one day fear him more than any other god. Not because he was evil, but because he ruled death. Though Zeus ruled supreme, fear followed him, because he remembered Cronus. He remembered Uranus. And he knew one truth. Every ruler before him had fallen. Zeus vowed that history would not repeat itself. And that vow would shape every terrible decision he made. The earth was not finished rebelling. From Gaia's rage were born the giants, monsters of immense strength, created to overthrow the Olympians. This conflict became known as the Titanomachy. The giants could not be killed by gods alone, so Zeus did something unprecedented. He involved mortals. A mortal hero named Heracles fought beside the gods. Together, gods and humans defeated the giants. This moment changed everything. For the first time, mortals influenced divine fate. And the gods noticed. Zeus learned of a terrifying prophecy. His first wife, Metis, would bear a child, a daughter wiser than Zeus, and a son powerful enough to overthrow him. Zeus reacted the only way he knew. He swallowed Metis whole. History repeated itself. Only this time, Zeus was the father. But fate cannot be eaten. One day, Zeus was struck with unbearable pain. His head split open. From it emerged Athena, fully grown, fully armored, and fully divine. She was wisdom without cruelty, strategy without chaos, and proof that Zeus could not escape destiny. The gods established their rule on Mount Olympus. There, they lived not as distant cosmic forces, but as a royal family. A family filled with rivalry, jealousy, desire, betrayal. They were immortal, but their emotions were deeply human. Zeus married Hera, his sister. She became queen of the gods, but she was never truly free. Zeus's endless affairs humiliated her. Her rage would become legendary, and innocent mortals would suffer because of it. Poseidon accepted his role, but he never forgot that Zeus ruled above him. His anger shook the earth. His jealousy stirred storms, and his resentment would surface again and again. Hades did not rebel. He ruled the underworld in silence, but his isolation shaped him. And one day, loneliness would lead him to make a choice that would change the seasons forever. Zeus created laws. He punished oathbreakers. He rewarded hospitality, but he also used mortals for pleasure, politics, and power. Heroes were born from his affairs, and monsters were created by his punishments. As time passed, the gods grew comfortable. Their power was absolute, and absolute power corrupted even immortals. They interfered in human lives. They punished pride. They tested loyalty. And often, they destroyed without mercy. This was the age when legends were born. An age of heroes, curses, and impossible trials. An age where gods walked among mortals. But beneath the stories was a dark truth. The gods were not guardians. They were rulers. Zeus had conquered the universe. But ruling gods was harder than defeating titans. And soon, internal conflict would threaten Olympus itself. Because gods, like humans, could never agree. Mount Olympus was not a place of peace. It was a throne room in the sky. Home to the most powerful beings that ever existed. They were worshipped as gods, but they behaved like kings, queens, warriors, lovers, and tyrants. To understand Greek mythology, you must understand the Olympians, not as symbols, but as personalities. After the fall of the Titans, the gods needed a center of power. They chose Mount Olympus, a towering peak hidden above the clouds. From here, Zeus ruled the sky. Decisions affecting mortals were made. Wars were planned. Fates were altered. Olympus was not paradise. It was a royal court filled with ambition and rivalry. Zeus was the strongest Olympian, god of sky, thunder, law, authority. He was protector of order, but also its greatest violator. Zeus punished those who challenged him. Yet he constantly broke his own laws through deception, affairs, and cruelty. His rule was absolute, but never stable. Hera was goddess of marriage, loyalty, queenship. She was not the goddess of love. She was the goddess of commitment. And Zeus humiliated her endlessly. Unable to punish Zeus directly, Hera unleashed her rage on Zeus's lovers, their children, innocent mortals. Her cruelty was born from betrayal. Poseidon ruled oceans, storms, earthquakes, horses. He was unpredictable. One moment calm, the next devastating. Poseidon often clashed with Zeus. When denied respect, he punished entire cities. The sea was not kind. Neither was its god. Hades ruled the realm of the dead, not as a villain, but as a warden. He ensured balance. The dead stayed dead. Yet mortals feared him most, because death does not bargain. Demeter governed agriculture, fertility, seasons. When her daughter Persephone was taken, Demeter's grief froze the world. Crops failed. Life stopped. For the first time, Zeus realized the gods could destroy humanity unintentionally. Athena was born from Zeus's mind. She ruled strategy, wisdom, justice, warfare without chaos. She favored intelligence over brute force. Cities prospered under her protection. Athena represented what the gods could have been. Ares loved bloodshed. He thrived on chaos, rage, violence. Even Zeus disliked him. Ares represented war at its worst. Uncontrolled, meaningless, destructive. Apollo governed sun, music, prophecy, healing. He was beautiful, talented, and ruthless when disrespected. Apollo's arrows brought plagues. His prophecies were never kind. Artemis ruled. Wilderness, moon, childbirth. She protected the innocent, but punished violations brutally. Her arrows never missed. Aphrodite was born from violence. She ruled desire, not devotion. Love under Aphrodite was dangerous. It caused wars. It destroyed families. It ruined kingdoms. Hephaestus was the craftsman. Lame, mocked, brilliant. He built Olympus itself, yet he was betrayed by those he served. Hermes ruled. Travel, theft, messages, souls. He crossed boundaries no god dared to, between life and death, truth and lies. They were immortal, but dysfunctional. They argued, they plotted, they punished each other through mortals. Olympus was powerful, but fragile. The gods ruled everything, but one god ruled the dead. And soon, his story would change the world forever. Of all the Greek gods, one was feared more than any other, not because he was cruel, not because he was evil, but because he ruled the only place no one ever returned from. His name was Hades, and history has misunderstood him. The Greeks avoided speaking Hades' name aloud. They called him the Unseen One, the Wealthy One, Lord Below, because death was not something to invite. Hades did not seek worship. He demanded silence. Hades did not cause death. He did not hunt souls. He ruled after death. His duty was balance. Without Hades, souls would wander forever. Without order, the universe would collapse. The underworld was not hell. It was structured. The rivers, Styx, oaths and death, Lethe, forgetfulness, Acheron, pain, Phlegethon, fire, Cocytus, lamentation, Charon, the ferryman who demanded payment, Cerberus, the three-headed guardian, not to keep souls in, but to keep the living out. Souls were judged by Minos, Rhadamanthus, Aeacus. Not all souls suffered. Elysium, for heroes and the virtuous. Asphodel meadows, for ordinary souls. Tartarus, for the truly wicked. Hades ruled all fairly. While Olympus celebrated, Hades ruled alone. He had no festivals, no temples, no praise, only duty. Hades saw Persephone, not as prey, but as hope. He took her, with Zeus's permission. Demeter's grief froze the world. Crops failed, mortals starved. For the first time Zeus feared extinction. Persephone ate pomegranate seeds. She belonged to both worlds. Thus, spring and summer, fall and winter, were born. Hades was faithful, rare among gods. Persephone became queen, feared, respected, powerful. Hades ruled riches beneath the earth. Gold, silver, gems, death and wealth were linked. Later cultures confused Hades with hell. But Hades was not Satan. He was necessary. The underworld was complete. But above it the gods would soon clash again. Because the sea and the mind would go to war. The gods were not content with Olympus. They desired the earth, cities, oceans and mortals under their control. And two gods in particular would shape humanity forever. Poseidon, lord of the sea, and Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy. Their rivalry would not only determine who ruled cities, but also what values humans would worship. Poseidon was raw power. Storms, earthquakes and tsunamis answered his will. He wanted cities to honor his strength, to fear his wrath. Athena was intellect incarnate. Strategy, law and civilization were her tools. She wanted cities to thrive under reason and wisdom. Where Poseidon saw dominance, Athena saw civilization. The clash was inevitable. Athena's first task was guiding humans. She taught weaving, farming, architecture, laws. Under her guidance, humans could build cities and create culture. Poseidon, however, did not approve. He viewed mortal ingenuity as defiance. Cities without fear of the sea? Blasphemy. The greatest rivalry of all came over a single city, Athens. Both gods wanted to claim the city as their own. Poseidon struck the ground with his trident. A saltwater spring erupted. It was mighty, but useless for farmers. Athena planted an olive tree. Its fruit provided food, oil, and wood. The people chose wisdom over brute strength. Athena became their patron. Poseidon's rage shook the sea. And yet, his power remained feared. Poseidon did not give up. He turned oceans into weapons. Storms destroyed ships. Earthquakes leveled cities. He demanded respect. And mortals obeyed. Poseidon taught humans one lesson: the world is not theirs to control. Athena, in contrast, taught order. She encouraged democracy, strategy in war, justice in courts, arts, sciences, and architecture. Through Athena, humans learned reason could overcome chaos. If they were clever and disciplined, the rivalry extended beyond cities to heroes. Poseidon often supported destructive heroes. Odysseus faced his wrath in storms. Theseus survived because Athena guided him. Athena nurtured those who represented strategy and intelligence. Poseidon nurtured raw courage and chaos. The clash of their influences shaped human history and mythology. Athena's olive tree became a symbol: life, wisdom, peace. Poseidon's trident symbolized power, fear, destruction. Humans understood survival required balancing both. Poseidon's anger was legendary. Even the Olympians feared him. He caused floods, storms, and shipwrecks when slighted. Yet, he was also a protector of sailors. Power and mercy existed together in Poseidon. Athena was no warmonger. She guided heroes to victory through intelligence, not violence. Her influence led to the Trojan War, the Odyssey, and the rise of great civilizations. Athena taught humans the value of planning and foresight. The Olympians did not live apart from mortals. They intervened, punished, and rewarded. Cities became extensions of divine will. Wars became reflections of divine rivalry. Civilization itself was shaped by God's choices. The battle for cities represents a larger truth. Power without wisdom destroys. Wisdom without power is ignored. Poseidon and Athena represent the eternal balance humans must navigate. Athena's influence endured in Athens. Poseidon's influence endured across oceans. Humans learned that gods are not abstract, they are forces. Intelligence guides survival. Raw power demands respect. Civilization exists between chaos and order. The lesson of Poseidon and Athena continues today. The seas and cities were shaped. Humans learned to survive, but Olympus still held secrets. Next we uncover the gods of war, light, and love. And the darker truths even mortals rarely hear. Mount Olympus was not only a place of order and wisdom, it was a battlefield. Some gods thrived on war, conflict, and destruction. Among them, Ares, the relentless god of bloodshed; Apollo, the radiant god of light, prophecy, and sometimes deadly plagues; Artemis, the fierce goddess of the hunt and vengeance. These gods shaped humanity in ways both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Ares was pure chaos. He loved nothing more than the sound of clashing swords. Unlike Athena, who used strategy, Ares thrived on raw violence. He encouraged rebellion and battle. Cities often suffered when he intervened. Even Zeus did not fully trust him. Yet, he had followers, mortals who glorified courage and bloodshed. Ares's influence was brutal. Soldiers fought valiantly, but often died senselessly. Families mourned endlessly. Entire cities fell to his wrath. Ares taught humanity that courage is vital, but without strategy, it is suicide. Apollo contrasted sharply with Ares. He ruled the sun, music and poetry, prophecy and foresight, healing and disease. Apollo was beautiful, radiant, and dangerously proud. His power extended to mortals. He sent plagues to punish dishonor. He guided heroes with visions of the future. Apollo embodied the duality of power. Creation and destruction intertwined. Artemis, twin sister of Apollo, ruled the moon, wild animals, protection of children, punishment of those who violated nature. She was fiercely independent and feared by mortals. Hunters who disrespected her forest were destroyed. Women who dishonored her were punished. Cities learned not to underestimate her wrath. Artemis represented divine justice untainted by compromise. Though twins, Apollo and Artemis ruled opposite realms. Apollo, civilization, prophecy, and foresight. Artemis, wilderness, instinct, and divine law. Together, they symbolized the balance of civilization and nature, reason and instinct. Mortals learned quickly, anger a god, and death could follow. Sometimes slow, sometimes immediate. War was not only Ares's domain. Athena guided strategy. Apollo punished pride. Poseidon unleashed storms during battles. Olympus had multiple influences. Chaos, Ares. Strategy, Athena. Divine punishment, Apollo. Environmental devastation, Poseidon. Mortals were never truly in control. These gods shaped mortality. Entire armies destroyed. Heroes rose and fell. Cities prospered or perished based on divine whims. Wars were divine chess matches. Humans were pieces. Apollo intervened in the Trojan War, sent plagues, guided Hector, influenced the tide of battle. His influence showed humans that foresight could be a weapon. But the gods always decided the outcomes. Artemis punished mortals who violated her sacred spaces. Hunters who killed indiscriminately. Mothers who harmed children. Villagers who disrespected nature. Her arrows brought swift justice. Through her, humans learned the cost of disrespecting divine law. Ares represented unrestrained aggression. Even he could be defeated. Athena often outmaneuvered him. Mortals sometimes survived his wrath through strategy. Ares' lesson: raw power is useless without intelligence. The combination of these three gods created a terrifying cycle. War, retribution, chaos, justice. Mortals witnessed both the beauty and horror of divine conflict. Humans learned that intelligence can overcome brute force. Athena versus Ares. Divine will governs mortality. Apollo. Nature is sacred. Artemis. The gods were not just myth. They were warnings. War and light had been revealed. But the story of love, desire, and betrayal was about to begin. Because even the gods could not escape the chaos of passion. Love. Desire. Betrayal. Even the gods, immortal and all-powerful, were enslaved by it. Hera, the queen of Olympus, ruled marriage and loyalty. Aphrodite, goddess of desire, ruled passion and seduction. Together they taught humanity the harshest lesson. Love is never simple. And never safe. Hera's domain was marriage, family, and the bonds that hold society together. She was regal, commanding, and deeply proud. But her marriage to Zeus was a living nightmare. Zeus's endless affairs humiliated her. Her jealousy became legendary. Hera's wrath was not just personal, it was political. Mortals and gods alike suffered. Heroes born from Zeus's affairs were often targeted. Entire cities could feel her vengeance. Hera was the goddess of retribution and love. Unlike Ares, Hera's rage was calculated. She poisoned relationships. She sabotaged quests. She manipulated allies against her enemies. Her goal was not chaos, but restoration of honor. Yet mortals often bore the brunt of her punishment. Aphrodite represented the opposite. Passion, beauty, seduction, obsession. Unlike Hera, Aphrodite encouraged emotion over logic. Her power was subtle but irresistible. She could ignite love or lust instantly. She could destroy empires through desire. Heroes often fell at her whim. Where Hera demanded respect, Aphrodite demanded obedience to the heart. Hera and Aphrodite represented two extremes. Commitment and loyalty. Desire and temptation. Humans were caught between both. Love could elevate life, or destroy it. Aphrodite's influence reshaped history. Paris of Troy chose her as the fairest, sparking the Trojan War. Mortals betrayed allies, families, and cities for love or lust. Even gods were manipulated by her charms. Desire, Aphrodite showed, was more dangerous than any sword. Hera's punishments often contrasted Aphrodite's rewards. Medea, Heracles, and countless mortals suffered for disrespecting her domain. Entire bloodlines were cursed. Husbands and wives faced divine tests of loyalty. Hera's wrath proved that marriage and fidelity were not to be taken lightly. Both goddesses used love as a weapon. Hera, to punish. Aphrodite, to manipulate. Even Zeus, their king and sometimes victim, could not escape the consequences of desire. Mortals learned quickly, love is political, divine, and dangerous. Humans suffered endlessly from divine games. Cities fell because of jealous gods. Heroes died because of cursed love. Families were torn apart. Love, the Greeks realized, was as dangerous as war. Aphrodite had many followers among mortals. Priests and priestesses. Lovers seeking her favor. Kings who built temples for beauty and desire. Through them, mortals attempted to harness divine passion, but often failed. Hera taught that betrayal has consequences. Aphrodite taught that desire cannot be contained. Together they formed the divine warning about love. It can inspire greatness. It can bring ruin. It is uncontrollable and eternal. No god or mortal could escape this dynamic. Zeus's affairs angered Hera. Aphrodite manipulated heroes and gods alike. Mortals were pawns in divine dramas. Love became a battlefield. Even gods who seemed virtuous, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, were influenced by these forces indirectly. Humanity learned early, emotions are tools of the gods, not always blessings. Love had been revealed as dangerous, unpredictable, and divine. But a greater story awaited, the story of humanity itself, and the gods who risked everything to shape it. The gods ruled Olympus. The humans lived in ignorance, powerless and defenseless. But one titan changed everything. His name was Prometheus. He defied Zeus, stole fire, and gave humans a spark of divinity. And from that act of rebellion came hope, suffering, and a curse that would follow humanity forever. Prometheus, whose name means forethought, was clever, cunning, and compassionate. Unlike other titans, he saw humans as more than mere mortals. He taught them craftsmanship, architecture, agriculture, science. But he saw a problem: humans lacked fire. Without it, they were weak, cold, and defenseless. Prometheus defied Zeus's command. Humans must not wield fire. He stole fire from Olympus, hidden in a hollow fennel stalk, and gifted it to humanity. For the first time, humans cooked food, heated their homes, forged weapons and tools, began to challenge nature itself. Zeus was furious. The theft of fire was not merely rebellion, it was threatening the gods' dominance. He devised a punishment both cruel and cunning. Prometheus was chained to a rock. An eagle tore at his liver every day. Every night, the liver regenerated for eternal torment. Prometheus endured for centuries, a symbol of suffering for defiance. Zeus did not stop at punishing Prometheus. He sent Pandora, the first mortal woman, as a gift, and a trap. Beautiful, clever, curious. Pandora was given a box, or jar, and warned never to open it. Pandora's curiosity was irresistible. She opened the box. From it escaped disease, sorrow, pain, greed, violence, death. Only one thing remained inside: hope. Thus, humans inherited both power and suffering. Prometheus had given humans fire, knowledge, craft, and the ability to survive. But Pandora's box ensured that survival came with pain. The Greeks understood this duality. Progress is never free. Knowledge has consequences. Defiance against the divine comes with cost. Prometheus's rebellion inspired heroes. They defied monsters. They challenged gods. They fought impossible odds. But they also learned humility. No matter how skilled, humans remained mortal. Even in the darkest myths, hope remained. It was humanity's greatest weapon against suffering. Perseverance, creativity, courage, resilience. Prometheus's gift was not just fire, it was the spark of the human spirit. Centuries later, Prometheus was freed by Heracles, who broke his chains. His suffering ended. But the lessons of defiance and curiosity endured. Humans continued to struggle with fire, knowledge, and the consequences of curiosity. Prometheus and Pandora together illustrate the Greek understanding of life. Power comes with responsibility. Knowledge brings suffering and hope. Defiance can lead to freedom, but never without risk. Humans are forever caught between progress and consequence. From Olympus, the gods watched. Zeus maintained order. Prometheus defied authority. Pandora's curiosity reshaped the world. The mortal world became a theater of divine influence. A place where human courage, curiosity, and weakness intertwined with God's whims. With fire, knowledge, and hope, humanity began to build cities, to create art, to wage war, to survive adversity. The curse of Pandora ensured they would never be naive again. And yet, the gift of Prometheus ensured they could endure. The world of humans was forever changed. But the gods still ruled Olympus. And one day, their conflicts, passions, and power struggles would set the stage for the final age of mythology. The age of prophecy, downfall, and the ultimate legacy of the gods. The gods of Olympus were immortal. They ruled the skies, seas, and underworld. They wielded power beyond imagination. Yet even immortals are not immune to prophecy, betrayal, or fate. This is the story of the final age of Greek mythology, where legends end, and legacies are born. From the fall of Cronus to the rise of Zeus, prophecy shaped the cosmos. Uranus warned of his overthrow. Cronus feared his children. Zeus swallowed Metis to avoid a son stronger than him. Even the strongest gods could not escape fate. Prophecy was the invisible hand guiding Olympus, and it was relentless. Though imprisoned in Tartarus, the Titans' threat never fully disappeared. Giants and monsters emerged to challenge the Olympians. Gaia plotted silently, waiting for the right moment. Even minor titans could disrupt cities or heroes. The gods' victories were never permanent. They were guardians, not invincible rulers. Zeus sought to maintain order. He divided realms among his brothers, punished disobedience, protected mortals and heroes selectively. But even Zeus could not control everything. Humans defied gods. Love, war, and greed continued. Prophecies still unfolded. The king of gods realized that power alone could not prevent chaos. The Olympians themselves were sources of instability. Hera punished infidelity. Ares promoted war. Aphrodite manipulated desire. Apollo and Artemis enforced divine justice. Internal conflict often endangered mortals more than titans ever could. The gods' weaknesses mirrored humanity's. Throughout Greek mythology, humans intervened. Heracles freed Prometheus. Odysseus defied gods strategically. Perseus defeated monsters born from divine whim. The line between divine power and human action blurred. Mortals were no longer passive. They became participants in Olympus's fate. Hubris, the arrogance of humans or gods, was punished. Niobe challenged Leto, losing her children to Apollo and Artemis. Ixion attempted to seduce Hera, and was condemned forever. Even Zeus's actions led to suffering he could not control. The Greeks believed that arrogance precedes downfall, whether mortal or immortal. Even the gods could not escape the laws of fate, though they did not die. Hades governed death, but also the eternal reminder: mortals perish. Suffering endures. Legacy matters more than existence. The underworld was the balance to Olympus's power, a silent, inevitable truth. Prometheus's gift of fire ensured humanity would endure, struggle, and innovate. Pandora's box guaranteed challenges, suffering, and hope. The final age was not about divine dominance. It was about human potential, innovation, courage, morality, resilience. Humans became the living legacy of the gods' actions. Over time, the stories of gods and heroes evolved. Some gods faded from worship. Heroes' tales were immortalized in literature. Olympus became legend, rather than reality. But the lessons remained. Power is fleeting. Knowledge has consequences. Desire can destroy or inspire. Fate cannot be outrun. The Greek gods were not moral guides, they were mirrors. Zeus, leadership and flaws of authority. Hera, loyalty and wrath. Athena, wisdom and strategy. Ares, destruction without foresight. Apollo and Artemis, justice and divine intervention. Aphrodite, desire and influence. Poseidon, power tempered by fear. Hades, order beyond morality. Mortals learned the human condition from divine examples. Olympus was a reflection of life itself. Chaos and order. Love and betrayal. Power and humility. Knowledge and consequence. Even if gods fade into myth, their stories remain eternal. The age of Greek mythology ends, but its echoes endure. Architecture, literature, philosophy, culture. The gods may have ruled Olympus, but humans inherited the earth. And from that inheritance comes hope, courage, and the eternal spark of imagination. The gods of Olympus may have been flawed, jealous, and powerful. But they were immortal not just in life, but in story. And through their myths, they continue to teach us. Power must be tempered with wisdom. Desire must be respected, not ignored. Fate cannot be avoided. Hope is humanity's greatest gift. Thus ends the saga of the Greek gods. But the lessons of Olympus will live forever.